All right.
User error.
Calling to order the regular Board of Education meeting for Road Community College, Tuesday, October 21st. Calling to order. We do have a quorum. And Dr. Weber, I see awards and recognitions, but I've been told we have none tonight.
Not this
Correct?
evening. We've got some exciting ones prepared for you next month.
Very excellent. Public comments. Did we receive any public comment? No. No public comment. Best, we're just flying.
We're moving along.
Moving and
Here we
grooving.
go.
And I'm knocking on the wood. So we will start our college reports. And is Micah on the line tonight?
Yeah, we'll be restarting in a second.
Okay. We'll come back to him. How about that? Or is he there? Oh, there we go. There he is.
Yeah. Right down here, there, you can unmute and turn your video on.
Micah, are you there?
Oh, sorry, I did not hear you.
That's okay.
Hello.
Maybe you didn't, so. Welcome.
Hello. I'm Mike Dimick. I'm the ASG student body president.
Well, we are glad to have you part of the meeting. Do you have a report for us tonight, or are you just introducing yourself?
No, I do have a report. So to start off my report, introducing the other officers are Marino Rubello, who's the VP of Governance, and Mark Woods, who is our finance coordinator, and then Avia Jones is the business specialist for governance. And we are working on recruiting more students for ASG and hoping that succeeds. Moving on to our fall leadership conference. Our fall leadership conference was held at Manuka Conference and Retreat Center, September 10th through September 8th through the 10th, sorry. And 10 community colleges throughout the state were present. We learned a lot about team collaboration and stuff like that, and got to really fit into our roles as leaders. And then more on the ASG officer. Sorry, cannot speak today. The ASG officer orientation and training. We participated in about 30 hours of training and leadership activities facilitated by student engagement officers with guest presenters. And then we identified some team core values for our year in office, which are accountability, compassion, solidarity, development, and individuality. And we also identified some goals connected to ASG, RCC, and sorry, that was a mistype. I apologize.
Okay.
Moving on. So me and Marina attended and are part of OCCSA, which is Oregon Community College Student Association. It is making a comeback. This is, I think, the second year it has made a comeback since COVID. I am the student representative for RCC, and Marina is the operations coordinator. Moving on to the events that we hosted was Week of Welcome. It was a great opportunity to connect with students and share about ASG. And we got some interest of students with ASG and a lot more interest about clubs. And then the clubs fair, which was held at October 14th and 16th at Riverside and Redwood. We had very good attendance at both club fairs, and the clubs were able to recruit a lot of new members, which is really positive. And the clubs say that they are looking forward to more club fairs throughout the other terms. And then we also hosted two inter-club council meetings through Zoom. They went well, and we went over just the process of how to charter and how to start a new club if people were interested in that. And clubs are still working on getting chartered, but that process went pretty good. And then the upcoming events that we have are Pizza with the President, which I believe are next week, if I remember my calendar right, which are October 28th, 29th, and 30th. And we're glad to partner with Dr. Weber to host this event at all three campuses. And then there is the Halloween parties at Riverside and Redwood, which are the 29th and the 30th. Thank you so much for letting me present.
Thank you so much. We did have a written report from our faculty association, see online. Okay. How about faculty senate? Classified association? Moving on to board reports. We'll start with the executive committee, and Roger, I heard you lost or won. The rock, paper, scissors.
Oh, yeah. As usual, we talked about the agendas, both for the work session and the regular meeting agenda for this evening. We also spent some time talking about the Lisa's draft that she prepared for the contingency that it might be a 5% proposed reduction in state support and all of the implications of that. We spent some time talking about that, and the fact that the leader will probably hear more about that, if not tonight, certainly in future board meetings. Once the leadership team has a chance to gather their thoughts and plans. And we also talked a little bit about the alliance with the Western governors and future opportunities for bachelor programs. So that's how we spent the meeting.
Perfect. Board
Did I
outreach.
miss anything? Perfect.
You got it all. Board outreach committee.
Well, you don't have anything for the outreach, but I'd like to just swing it into the OSBA or
Well, hold on
OCCA.
just a second, because maybe Jonathan has something he wants to
Oh.
add.
RB meets tomorrow.
Say that again.
RB meets tomorrow, so I know.
I'll just say I went to the League of Oregon Cities and met several local mayors, city councilors, and city managers. So I did have the opportunity to promote RCC to some very influential people, and I do that. So I'm really happy about having more information at my fingertips to share. That would be really good.
All right, Pat, now you're on.
Okay, so OCCA, first and foremost, next October 30th, is that the Thursday or Friday? That's
Thursday.
Yeah. Lunch and Learn. This is one that every board member should listen to. It's about PERS. They're not going to have the typical PERS discussion at the conference, and so this is a way to make up for it. It's usually titled, I'm Not Stupid, but I Don't Get PERS, and you'll get a lot of good information out of it. I always ask the one question, when is PERS going to be actuarially sound? And that's always an interesting date that they give us, but be that as may. Next for the October, October 3rd, we had the OCCA board met at Clackamas Community College, and there was a lot of stuff that was done at the meeting. We talked about board roles and member roles, board and member roles, but there were some revisions done to the OCCA board's bylaws and policies, some committees that just didn't make any sense anymore, and they were removed. Huge discussion about the state budget. In the OCCA website has a very good point about it. On September 8th, Governor Kotek issued a statement saying they think they're going to be $327 million short of the $37 billion budget for the state general fund. And they talk about why it's there, and there's a bunch of reasons why. HEC Director Ben Cannon thinks that the reduction won't impact the community college support fund at this time. However, We're not sure. We won't get a final reading on that until mid-November. So that's, stay tuned. It may change because it'll change how we do our budget. It'll be changed. It'll make a difference how we advocate at the next legislative section next year. So it's important. We need to be there and be aware of what's going on. And the last thing I want to talk about is the conference on November 5th through 6th. And the reason why I'm bringing up November 5th through 6th is that if you go on the 5th, you can get your board policy program training. Karen Smith, our legal, is going to do the training there on the 5th. So it's some of the training that all elected officials have to have during their term. So if you haven't got it done yet, that's a good way to get it. So I'm going to read off the breakout sections just real quick so you have an idea. On Thursday, it's credit for prior learning, expanding opportunities, budgets for outcomes, board roles, and addressing the 2025 emerging legal issues, harnessing the wind, leveraging community college strength to expand equitable bachelor degree program pathways. On Thursdays, it's pathways to opportunity, transforming student success in workforce development, Oregon vision for community college credit in high school, funding the future, how Oregon's CCSF formula advances equity, innovation, and student success, and rooted in wellness, a culture of care at Klamath Community College, guided pathways to successful transfer, through the data-informed looking glass, rethinking academic program sustainability, engagement isn't a phase, involvement in community college beyond the bond, and unlocking potential, creating a second chance for adults in custody, their education and reentry. There's a lot of great stuff here, guys, and it's really worth going. But if you don't want to go, there's another option if you're interested. And that is at the same time we're having the world's greatest conference, the Oregon School Boards Association has a conference in Portland. And I see a couple people involved in K-12 that might want to go to that. I always found it interesting. It's and for Vanessa and Jonathan, it's worthwhile going just because you have a breakout sessions where you're within your local areas, school districts. It gives you a great time to advocate for dual enrollment. And that's the only reason why I went. It's a big conference. There's 700 people there. I don't think my dad jokes cut the mustard up there, but it's worthwhile going. So if you don't go to the OCCA conference, think about going to the OSBA conference, and it's worth going at least once. And if you have any questions, feel free.
All right, our foundation board liaison, Maria, we'll let you be the spokesperson unless Pat has more to add.
Nothing to report. We have a meeting on Thursday.
Okay. All right, thank you so much. I know there's a number of us going up to the OCCA conference, so that'll be a good time of learning. Sounds like some great breakout sessions. Dr. Weber, you are up with the president's report.
Terrific. Well, my monthly report included a couple updates that we received on legislative impact from both United Strategies as well as OCCA. In addition to those this month, I wanted to give a couple just quick comments from previous comment, and then three updates for you. One is the discussion around economic impact study came up during the workshop, and the way we approach that is so we can leverage a really good rate from Lightcast. We do a state agreement, so they do for all 17 colleges, and we have a contract for this year. We're working hard to try to get it done as soon as possible. Most likely it'll be concluded probably after short session before summer, probably after our annual report to the community. So we'll have to decide whether we want to use that couple-year-old report or maybe definitely some of the good information Esam shared could be included in that. You can tell that it's a good thing I like pizza because I got lots of it next week with students, and that's one of my favorite things to do. And students are always so candid with me, and I get to observe But one of the fun things there too is, this is year fall 4 for me, and just seeing the increased student traffic from fall 1 to fall 4 on campus kind of just really shows that thriving campus atmosphere. And what that comes from is I'll kind of transition into the 3 updates that I have before I field maybe any questions or thoughts that you may hear. Is we're pretty locked in for what fall enrollment, particularly on the credit side, will look like. And so I just want to give you a couple snapshots, and we'll dig in a little bit deeper to, how this is reflected with new students, returning students, and programs, et cetera, next month. But this fall, our teams did it again. Our total FTE is up over 6%. Our student headcount is up just a little bit at 2%. And I've shared with you a couple times in the past, this year, because of the impact of the growth management cap and our reliance on tuition funding for the only potential revenue source to be able to see increases, we put a special focus on credit enrollment this fall, and our credit enrollment's up 8% in FTE and up over 6.5% in student headcount. So what that looks like is overall students, and it'll grow a little bit this fall as we add a couple non-credit programs, but we're right at about 5,200 students in the Valley served at RCC this fall, and that's really exciting to know how many people rely on RCC for their education. Pat gave his update, and when he did, he said, stay tuned on feedback from the state on the budget situation. And so stay tuned means fast forward 10 minutes. It's a very fluid discussion. And what we do have is more updated, I'll say, information expectations. And the original email we received from Director Cannon at HEC on September 18th represented the potential for maybe a 1% cut and what that might look like. And I had a couple conversations with a couple of you at my quarterly updates about what that 1% would look like. Fast forward less than a month, on October 9th, we received an email from him saying that it looks more like what would be the equivalent of a 5% cut for both years of the biennium. And what that looks like at RCC for year 1, which would be this current year that we're in with a budget that we've already approved, is a $1.24 million cut approximately. And these are fluid numbers, but that's the number in a spreadsheet that's been given to us. Represents about a 4.1% decrease in our total public funds. So we recognize this significant budget shortfall. The quarterly revenue projections definitely help with forecasting with greater confidence or accuracy, though we have been told don't have much confidence in the next quarterly report or don't have much optimism, maybe. I guess that's a unfortunate better word to use. The other thing that we received last week was communication from our deputy director of OCCA, who'd been talking and received communication from the co-chairs of Ways and Means. And they pretty much put the state on notice and said, yes, we recognize we have a rainy day fund, and we recognize we have an education stability fund for K-12, but we want you to know we're not planning to use those for ongoing costs. So those are not going to be used to offset the needs for ongoing costs. Those are really designed for one-time emergency types of expenses. So I think there's been some hope that maybe we could lean on those, but they're giving a lot of indications that we can't. What that means at RCC is that as a leadership team, we've started some conversations around how would we address $1.25 million cut this year and that again next year. And what I can tell you is that we are developing a plan or a strategy if in fact that were to happen. We will have that plan pretty much rolled up by the end of the I wish I could say November board meeting. That might be a little aggressive, definitely before the December board meeting to be able to share. It's important for us to identify where those savings and cost impacts could come from and give ourselves time to realize those. But one of the things we've tried to do from a leadership standpoint is really emphasize the importance of, when we do our zero-based budgeting process, we work really hard on personnel requests and operational requests, and it was a difficult process getting to the approved budget, given the tremendous growth at the college the last couple of years. And so for this year, our emphasis is really going to try to be, now, as long as there's consensus support from the board, for this year, we really want our emphasis to be on operational focus, realizing that we'll have to look beyond operational, potentially the impact on capital and personnel types of things beyond this year. But we want to give ourselves a little more thought. And I definitely will field some questions at the end of this update if you have any. So that's where we are with the state budget. It's pretty tough. What I did tell our leaders, our management folks at a monthly update earlier this month was, we have worked really hard as a college to prepare ourselves so that we could weather a storm, and that storm is kind of here. And so we are definitely in a better position than other institutions and schools in the state, though we definitely feel the impact of this expected cut. The last issue I wanted to update you on is something that is another ongoing and fluid topic in the community, and that is the status of SBDC in Southern Oregon. And so to give you a quick update, both President Bailey at SOU and I serve on the Soretti board, and we had heard in a couple updates, but then most recently at the Soretti board meeting, the value and the impact of the two SBDCs in the region, SOUs in Medford and RCCs in Grants Pass. And we heard a lot of positive support and just general, impact of SBDC in our region as part of an update. And I looked over him and said, we probably should update them on what's going on. And so we did. And since our conversation at the Soretti board meeting, a lot of other conversations have occurred. And that is that SOU is the last university to host SBDC in the state. And given their current financial constraints, they've committed to stepping away from hosting an SBDC effective the end of January when their current director retires. And so what that does is that leaves Jackson County without clear understanding what SBDC looks like moving forward. The state office has approached RCC about our interest and willingness to do more of a regional center. We were pretty optimistic about that request. Lisa Parks, our Dean of Business and Workforce, has done really diligent work on representing RCC in these conversations. I've been with her on some. But the fact of the matter for us is, and I'll give you kind of some just quick context, there's a baseline expectation to host an SBDC of the host institution historically contributing $40,000 a year, in addition to the in-kind of space and utilities. And that expectation has doubled to $80,000 as a host institution for this year and beyond. In reality, RCC has spent from essentially our general fund anywhere from $250,000 to $300,000 to support the SBDC. The last couple of years, we put them on notice saying we just aren't able to subsidize it's meaningful work, but that work in such a way. And so when we were approached with this regional opportunity, we thought, well, this could really be an opportunity to manage expenses, but really potentially grow revenues as we look at tripling our service area. We're not at a point with the state that we're on the same page about that. I mean, I'll be candid with you all. Currently, what we're looking at is potentially seeing an increase of $10,000 in revenue to triple our service area, and we can't math that out. So we're continuing to work with them. I do have a commitment from leadership at Lane and SBDC that they would like to work on this. But the position that we're really kind of taking and holding on this is the college is prepared to make the $80,000 in-kind contribution. But beyond that, we're going to need to see the commitment from the state SBDC and the community for the SBDC to be in our region hosted by RCC. And that's where we're working and walking on it. We do get a lot of support and feedback from the community on their desire to host it. But it's something I don't know that we can continue to subsidize the way we have, and taking on triple the service area, if not done right, just increases our exposure for expenses. And I suspect maybe that was a lot of information. There might be a couple questions about some of those topics, so I will turn it over and field any questions about any of the things I might have just shared.
Pat or Maria, any questions? Okay. You just did such a great job explaining it. There's no questions that need to be had.
Oh, see, that's perfect. Wishful thinking. Well, I know the VPs have some really good information that they're looking to share as well.
Thank you. Eeny, meeny, who's going first?
I'm happy to start.
All right.
So a couple things I want to go over. I'm excited. We have finally found a second solution to our non-food vendor possibilities at Table Rock campus. So we're investing in what's called smart vending, so that our two food service vendors, we have one at Riverside and one here at Redwood, that they can actually prepare meals and have them fresh at our Table Rock. And so that's a least expensive option that we can provide. We will continue with the micro markets that are out there. So this will just supplement and be located in a different part of the building for individuals to go get some fresh salads, I'm hopeful for, sandwiches, those types of things. And I don't know that I brought this up last month. I may have that with both of our vendors. We have asked them to bring forward a low cost menu to keep prices low for our students. Did I bring that up? Okay, perfect. It is Cybersecurity Awareness Month, so I will just bring that up. Please make sure that you're not just clicking any email and opening things up for yourself and for us. Good thing to keep going. In October and within our report, there's some good information in there as well as what's going on. Audit prep, we're working on that right now. Our auditors are actually working from their office and we have daily calls with them, so things are going well. And then just the last item I have is you keep seeing Emburse is a new software that we are bringing on. We do need to wait till we upgrade, almost said RogueNet, Gensabon to the most current version so we can integrate the two programs, and then we'll bring that on board, and that will be for our travel and our credit card purchase reconciliations. Some of the cool features that come with that is going on your phone, but also it will allow us to encumber and for everyone to see where they are spending wise, where right now it's a little bit slower. So we're excited for that.
Any questions for Michelle? No.
Okay, well, I do have a few highlights. First, I want to say, Jonathan, nice pin. Yes, excellent, love it. A couple of things from the executive team report. There were a few of us who were invited to attend the ASG orientation sessions and provide information. It was awesome. It was the first time for me that I've been invited into one of those sessions, so really appreciated that. Along with what Randy said about campus this fall being just exciting energy. There's a lot of engagement and collaboration going on. It wasn't just part of our story session, so that has been great. A quick update on the college council, which was talked about here before. We sent that draft charter out, gathered feedback, and now we're gathering nominations and folks being able to raise their hand to serve on that inaugural group. And so that is the group that will work on the first iteration of our shared governance framework. So that work is moving as planned, which is great. Along with the theme of celebration and recognition, we're excited that we're adding the League of Innovations Excellence Awards this year. So we've done the Innovation Awards for a while, and this will be the first year that we're also participating in the Excellence Awards. So nominations are open for that now, and it allows us to recognize excellence in teaching and in leadership. So looking forward to sharing with you all once you have some folks to recognize for that. Two other items. We've shared a lot about our emergency operations planning efforts, and we're now embarking on the deeper journey of continuity of operations planning across the college. It's about an 18-month project that'll be led primarily by risk management, but working with each department. So that work is kicking off now, and is vital work, although for some can be quite tedious. So looking forward to supporting people through that project. And then finally, we talked about changing our emergency response to line up with school districts. If you recall, the standard response protocol and evidence of that is in this very room. So I just wanted to call attention to our new emergency posters. If you haven't had a chance to look, they are wonderful. So want to give a shout out to Wendy and Sean in our risk management department and Ryan in marketing and communications for getting them on brand, easier to follow, and in alignment with that standard response protocol, which will support people in knowing what to do if we have an event or emergency. And then I invite any questions about this or anything else that was in the report. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. So I wanted to just follow up with something that was in the board packet, and that was we had a team that went up to Central Oregon to do some training on the group advising, and this is a piece of, we had a consultant who came from Central Oregon last year, kind of reviewed our student services areas and made some recommendations to us for improvement. And so they went up there, they traveled, they brought back information that was really great and shared it with some of our deans as well. And we are well underway in getting our group advising going for winter terms registration, which is great. So that should be occurring here very soon for the first iteration. We are planning on having group advising sessions, I think in person on each of the campuses as well as online. So we're excited to see how that looks. Just last week, we had a team of folks go up to a guided pathways meeting that was sponsored by the OCCA, the Oregon Community College Association. And at this event, they had Davis Jenkins there, who was the author of the original Guided Pathways book, and there's a new book out. And the new book really covers, it's essentially a case study and an analysis of guided pathways now after like 10 years or so. And so from this, they looked at 100 different community colleges that have implemented guided pathways, and 3 entire state systems, and then some other schools as part of a cohort. And they looked at what their findings were, that it takes time to implement. It takes like at least 5 years, and it requires complementary practices across the pillars of the guided pathways. But the most promising practices that they pointed to were advising, which is additional, I guess, an additional data point now for what we're doing and trying to move to group advising. But the second one was scheduling, course availability. And in the background, we've had some qualitative data about students sometimes not being able to get the courses that they need at the time that they need them. And so as a group, one of the things we looked at committing to a review of our in-person classes. It's not the online classes that are the issue, it's the in-person classes. And so we want to look at it by programs, by campus to make sure that we're offering them within our course block scheduling at times that are convenient for students. So can students take a 9 o'clock and then an 11 o'clock and then, so they go in that block scheduling. And also from term to term, a consistent schedule from term to term is important for students as well. So 9 and 11 in fall term and 9 and 11 in winter term. So our team quickly heard these most impactful practices and quickly decided to commit to doing this review. And so I'm excited to see the results.
Great.
And so other than that, be happy to answer any questions.
I think at one time, maybe it was during our retreat, you talked about maybe even evening classes and those kind of things to kind of broaden. That's still in the.
Yep, that'll be part of it.
So I have an update on the Bachelor of Applied Science and Education. I think the last time I came here, we were getting ready to submit phase 2 to the evaluators. So we submitted to our external expert evaluators. That included someone from the National Association of Community College Teacher Education Programs, someone from the Association for Advancing Quality and Educator Preparation Programs, and that would be the organization that we would seek program accreditation from, and then someone from Teacher Standard and Practices Commission in Oregon. So I was really pleased with the group that was there to look at all the materials, and we got overwhelmingly very positive feedback. They had some minor suggestions for things that we need to explain more or include in our proposal. So we added those, and then we submitted the final version of phase 2 to the HEC, and it will be on the December agenda for approval. So that part is going really well. In conjunction with that, we are also working on the advocacy for the approval of the program as we face a little pressure from our university partners on offering the degree at the different colleges. And so we've lined up public comment. Randy will be talking at the November meeting. The CEO of the chamber will be talking from the Grants Pass and Josephine County will be speaking, providing public testimony, and we're lining up different people for November and December and January and February, all the way through the approval process, and seeking, other partners in our community that have an interest in this, providing a solution for them. So we have K-12 people that will also be there to help share the importance of us being able to do this. We've provided evidence or research from other states that have started offering bachelors of applied science degrees to help show in those studies that those degrees do not impact the enrollment at the public universities. It's really impacting the out-of-state online schools. That's the population that we're trying to bring back to Oregon to keep our students educated locally, to keep our tuition dollars in Oregon, and to provide them the flexible opportunity for pursuing this degree. So we keep meeting with our regional partner who has joined the advisory board. So I'm feeling really good about relationships with SOU and their collaboration and being included in the process. And I will keep you updated. We will know, I think the December meeting might be before the board meeting. I think so. I think the date's before the board meeting. So a couple meetings from now, we will have an update on phase 2.
Exciting. Okay. You said so with phase 2 submitted, and the next part will be.
So we're working on phase 3, even though we don't have phase 2 approved. Yeah, we're gonna do all the work for phase 3, so that will be ready to submit. With the goal, our goal was to get it on the February agenda. Our goal was to make the November. We didn't make the November, December. I mean, it's a lot of work to collaborate across the groups. We were really close. But that is the current target.
Very hopeful. Those of us in K-12 education, we're very hopeful. All right. Institutional effectiveness. Do you have a report for us today?
Nothing further than earlier today, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, and I saw that Cass was online. Is she?
Yeah, I'm gonna promote her to panelist, so she'll join.
We had her report under the agenda on ours.
Hi, everyone. There we go. So first of all, you've got my report in front of you, but I wanted to thank Vanessa and Jonathan for attending our President's Circle. It was a big success, and I hope you think so.
Pat was there too.
Oh, and Pat. Sorry, Pat.
It was fantastic.
I saw you there too, Pat. Good. I'm glad you enjoyed it. And so some highlights, since July 1st of this year, the foundation has received $780,000 plus in scholarships and funds and grants and project funds. We've also have updated scholarship awards. So far this academic year, we've awarded $891,000 plus dollars in scholarships, and we're well on our way to our $1.2 million in scholarships this year. Just a quick breakdown, and the numbers have actually gotten better. Of the scholarships that we had available were 477 scholarships so far, and total applicants were 617. The students awarded were 302. That's almost half of our students receiving half of those students receiving scholarships. So that's exciting. We have those 4 other scholarships coming up. And just a highlight is that RCC Foundation meets on Thursday, and we will be voting on a special support opportunity for Rogue Community College. So more to follow on that. And hopefully Randy will be able to follow up and give you an exciting report next month.
Any questions for Cass? Cass, I really like the format that you're giving us our foundation reports in. It's super clear and transparent. I just want to tell you, I appreciate that.
Thanks.
Hey, Cass, when's the meeting on Thursday?
Thursday from 3:30 to 5, and we will have a Zoom option as well.
Okay, thank you, Cass.
Thanks, Pat. Thanks for coming to President's Circle.
All right, we are going to move on to board action and information. And we will start with the monthly financial report. And I have a feeling we might have questions.
You know, I just wanted to compliment Lisa and her team. I think back to when I first joined the board, how complicated the financial statements with all of the different, funds and whatever. It's so much easier to deal with now. It's a whole lot cleaner and whatever. So I know that took a lot of work. So I appreciate it.
So can I
Yes,
share a
please.
few things? So I apologize, we have a little typo here, but I think you can still read the sentence as we're moving forward. We had been asked to bring the interest forward of what the rates, I brought last month what the rates were, and then requested of how much we're making. And so there's a couple of graphs in here I kind of want to walk through. So this is our monthly interest by fund. So general fund, just general operations, you can see is the green line. The capital projects fund, so we set aside money for our capital projects. Those are reserved, sometimes internally, sometimes externally. Then our debt service fund, again, you can see that increases and decreases. We're required to put it in a month or two ahead of time. And then we have payments from property taxes coming in. So again, we're making sure that interest is going in the right place. And then the line that you're seeing there is actually the rate. To understand that graph, you also have to understand how the money is coming in and how much is actually in those accounts by those different funds. So again, we have 2 different institutions and where we hold our money. US Bank, where we hold enough for operations to pay our bills, pay payroll, those types of things. So we don't hold a lot of money in there. And so we're making adjustments. The majority of our money is held in the local government investment pool, LGIP. And again, depending on what the funds are, we have to have different accounts and have those funds separated. So the green here is just our general operations and funds that we can utilize and that are not restricted. You can think through the reserves that we do have is in that green area. the PERS bonded debt service, again, we have to put money in and that gets paid out. And so we're earning interest there. We do have the money or the Transportation Technology Center that we're bringing on, and that's the orange. They require us to put that in a separate account as our match and sit there so that they can see it. And so that's why you're seeing all these different accounts. If you look at this graph and you look at the graph that we showed before, you can interpret why we're making more or less money in those different funds depending on what the balances are. And so we'll keep bringing these forward as long as they're helpful. If not, and you find you want to see something else, please let us know. We'd be happy to make a change. So I have one
Hey,
more.
Lisa?
Yes, absolutely, Pat.
We made a statement about what it was like when we get here and we look at these financials. This is how much easier it is to look at it now. I remember, and you probably do, when we used to review every check that was written.
I do remember. You used to have to print those out.
Yeah, it was quite excessive. And of course, the only thing I looked at was to make sure the garbage bill was paid. But that was that was what we used to look at back then.
Yeah, I do remember that, Pat. We printed out the checks that we print. Yeah.
It's real accountability.
We'd be happy if you'd really like to look through that.
We do not want to micromanage your job.
Thank you
very much.
So the other thing I want to bring up is just tuition and fees and where we're at. And I made a little bit of an adjustment on the original budget, not the overall original budget, but where we're putting it by term. And so what we're really seeing is about 9% of our tuition comes in summer, 32%, just under 32% in fall, 31% in winter, and 28% in spring. What we had there last month was, I think, 10, 30, 30, 30, or 10, 31, 30. So that made a big difference when we were looking at projections. And so I wanted to make sure we updated that. So please remember what we put in our budget was a 5.7% increase in tuition and fees. And so that 300,000 that you're seeing there reflects about a 1.5% increase. And that's really close to the 8% increase Randy mentioned in general fund credits that's coming in. So again, you can see things are working. So are there any questions on any other statements that you may have?
Just one, Lisa. This chart that you just showed us, under normal circumstances, I'd be concerned about the declining bank balance, but I understand that that's cyclical. You know, when you go through the fall, the property taxes coming in, it'll vary. I assume that that's the case.
Absolutely. So again, Community College Support Fund comes in quarterly, except our last payment instead of at the 8th quarter payment rate, instead of coming in May, it comes in like July. And then we're not really bringing in a lot of revenue until October, when financial aid is posted to students' accounts, waivers are coming in, and then property taxes come in November and December, and you'll see that go back up. So really from June to really October, we don't have a lot of funds coming in typically.
Any other questions on that? We don't have any actions. We do have new business, however. I know it's not listed on the agenda, but Randy, I'll let you introduce.
Yeah, we talked about using this opportunity in the meeting to give kind of some quick updates on various things. And so we've asked Greg, with the transportation technology project moving along, and before we bring you requests for approval of cost, to give a quick update on the scope, the changing scope, and how that's impacted what we will see in pricing. So without further ado, I will let Greg share the great information he's got with you.
Okay, so we talked a little bit about the Redwood campus transportation technology, and we had stalled that one approximately 6 weeks behind the Table Rock facility, which was by necessity a little bit larger. And so we looked at options of what we could do for Redwood in order to proceed. So we stalled out at 100% schematic design. And one of the options we looked at here is, could we repurpose the current automotive building S and save a little bit of money that way? And this is one of the studies that we did. You can see the red line, that's the existing facility, and then the blue overlay is the best potential option for that building. However, there were a lot of pros and cons. Not all of them are listed here, but the biggest and most significant con against this facility is that what's not shown here is the canal that's directly to the north. And that little bump out in the building there that you see on the north side is closer than the setback requirements. So however that got designed and put in, or maybe just put in the past, is anybody's guess. But in order to build, we have that to consider. We have the area between Y building and S building. The sewer line, the city-owned sewer line, runs right in that pathway that you can see. So we have a right of way that we have to stay away from. And so really we were able to push out to the north. You can see the dotted line there, and add additional bays. So a total of 9 bays for a total square footage of that building being 8,060 square feet. But that's as far as we can go, but you can see there's no circulation between the bays. There's some safety concerns. And so we went ahead and met with Dean Steve Phelps and also the faculty, and ran this by them as well, and got their concerns and pros and cons. And quite frankly, they didn't really like this idea of repurposing this facility, but we did explore it. And those are the low and high range costs that were for this option. So with that, we went ahead and looked at just what it would, what the costs were for a similar size building, 8,000 square foot. So a little bit of a reduction, but still meeting the program needs in the original proposed location. And this is the site plan for that 8,000 square foot building, which has a total of 8 bays. And there, as you can see, there's very little restriction for future growth of this site versus the other, which is literally landlocked. And so what we're doing here, see if I can get my mouse to kind of show, this little kind of dotted grayed out area here is what we call an additive alternate. So we're going to bid out with our contractor this piece here as what we're going to call the base design, and then we'll have an additive alternate to expand the building to the north to provide outdoor bay space essentially, and then a second alternate to potentially enclose that. So we can kind of, if prices come in favorably, which we've been really fortunate in past, we're on bid day, we had some great numbers. We have the option to kind of incrementally choose our additive alternate to kind of take as a menu item. So this is, so we went ahead and proceeded into design development, which is really where we get into the details. And again, we're tracking about 6 weeks behind Table Rock. So with this option here, it realigned the project budget for construction with what we had originally budgeted. So the next slide here and final slide is the 50% design development level for Table Rock campus. We do have a 100% design development meeting this Thursday, so we're right there. And there's another cost estimating variation that will take place at that 100% DD, that those plans go to the contractor, which is Adroit Construction, and then they put together pricing packages based on current market conditions and subcontractor availability and all those things. And then there'll be one more price iteration, about 50% through the construction drawings before we actually go out to bid. So for both projects, we're constantly pricing this along the way to help us navigate and realign our project with budget. So similar here, This is the overall site. There is a parking lot expansion here. There is the water detention facility here, which is basically a large planting area to hold stormwater runoff. And this is the new building adjacent to the purchased building here. This is the new main entry sidewalk. It'll look quite grand. And this is the main facility here. And this light pink area is the outdoor bays. And that's for alternate fuels, propane and such. Obviously you want that outside. And so we're gonna have two additive alternates as well. So the first one would be to enclose this. The second would be to continue expanding the building out 4350. The outdoor enclosure would be expanded 4350. We do have room here. It's roughly another 3,500 square feet or so that we could add even more to the future. This is the setback off of Antelope Road, so it's as far as we can go. But in order to keep drive aisles and whatnot, we've got maybe another 3,500 square foot available. So this is where we're at today. Again, Thursday, we'll have a 100% design development review. That information goes out to the contractor for pricing. And then we begin construction drawings. So we're getting closer. And that concludes probably the shortest presentation I've ever given.
You did a very nice job. Very concise. Any questions for Greg from the Pat or Maria? Any questions, or Randy?
First off, I have a comment. Greg, phenomenal job. We challenged him to keep it to 7 minutes and he did just that. Secondly, I wanted to provide just a little more context for the board as a reminder, is that this has been penciled in as essentially a $17 million is kind of what we've given Greg as a charge to work with on the project. And that's inclusive of the $7 million we've received or receiving from the state for state capital grant match, $9 million that we put as our match against it. So that's 16, which means we're $1 million short of what we have let Greg work with to try to get the most comprehensive project. And the way we're looking at making up that $1 million and then some, I will say, is working then with Cass's team on right now we're penciling in a $2.5 million capital campaign for this project. And so now that we're understanding, what the building could look like and what additive alternates would look like, the last missing piece is when we worked with the architects, they really encouraged us to build the biggest building you could, and then over time figure out how to fill it. Don't build a building and then fill it day one and outgrow it day two. And so that's been the challenge we have. But what that means is Greg's spending the lion's share of money on construction. So we're going to have to go out there and see how do we fill it with the best learning technology for students. And that's the task we're up against. And we really hope industry and philanthropy steps up and really wants to commit to a really good transportation program at RCC. So we kind of wanted to just share that information with you right now, so you have some greater context when Greg starts bringing deeper steps of the project to the group.
Thank you. I have a comment. That might be nice to have, so when we go out, a little postcard size or something, asking for donations for that and what it is, and that we could just give out to people we run into that might be able to donate money towards it in the community.
That's something Randy will work with Cass.
100%. So what we need is this work with Greg and the architects done, so we understand, the way we're looking at this. And Indra, thank you so much for that willingness. Is we have to be able to go to people and say, here's what the college is committed to, and here's what we're short to have the full project. Is there any way we could count on support from you to get that? And so we've been, so far we've just been selling a concept, and we're really close to having a project that we can sell. And that's the hard work that Greg and Steve's team have been doing with architects. So we want to do that for you. It's right around the corner, but we're not quite there.
Great.
All right, our future work sessions, that was in our packet that you sent out to us.
Yeah, we've got, what I will point out for those is we've got some fixed things in there. Like next month, we really think it's important for ESOM to give an update on the timelines for both accreditation and strategic planning. And then we've got some required fillers like our cultural competency report, SBDC in there, budget. But we can move a couple things around. Some things need to stay stationary, but as it is, there is 1 month, January, that is without a session topic. So if there's a particular topic of interest to the board, please share with Rochelle or myself, and we'll see what we can do to fit that into the mix.
Thank you. All right, we're moving to our consent agenda. I'm going to take these two separately, if that's okay. Because I do have a question for Lisa when we get to the budget transfer part. So I would entertain a motion to approve 11A, our meeting minutes for both September 16th meetings.
So moved. Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion on the meeting minutes? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Or raise your
Aye.
hand. Something. Thank you. Our consent agenda number 2, or letter B, quarterly budget transfers. I know this happens all the time. I just was wondering if you could do me a 5 little second snapshot of reminding me what I know what transfers are happening. Give me the what really fast.
So according to Oregon budget law, we are not allowed to spend more than what you have appropriated. And so on a quarterly basis, we bring forward, or before we're going to overspend that appropriation, we would bring forward a request to do so. And so this is anticipation. It's early in the year. These are adjustments that we need to make, because by the time we get to June 30th, we'll probably be over. We may be over in that appropriation. We never want to get there. So we always want to ask permission before we do so.
Remembered it was a thing. I read the reports. I was knowing where money was going into it. I just needed to know just a little bit more. So I would entertain a motion to approve the quarterly budget transfers.
So moved. Second.
Any questions? All right, those in favor say aye.
I
Aye.
Well, everyone said aye, so I don't even have to ask if there's any opposed. All right, we're going to move on to roundtable, and we will start with our online folks first. If there is anybody that wants to add anything to our board roundtable.
I just want to bring up one point. As of today, next month's meeting, there's a very good chance we're going to have Abby Lee, the executive director from OCCA, at our board meeting. So I'm just asking everybody to be on their best behavior.
Are you have the mirror right there for you? That's your
Well, she's used to me. She understands me.
Just double checking there. Just double check.
That was a reminder for himself.
Yeah. Well.
I'm wondering, and I missed last month's meeting, so if you all discussed this already, I apologize. Maybe Randy could connect with me offline, but I'm wondering about our preparations for the SNAP cuts and the impacts that will have on our students. So maybe some future work session topic, or just if you have something written down around our strategy to help support some of those losses, I'd love to hear them.
Yeah, we'll definitely huddle up as a leadership team and figure out a best way to share an update on that information. And you know, I don't want to oversimplify it, but one of the things I will say is the continued support for student basic needs could not come at a more opportune time, and we have through multiple efforts really been able to raise supports for specific students in needs. But that goes back to the bigger issue, which is if people are struggling with life, they're not thinking about school. And so we recognize that barrier to pursuing and continuing education.
Roger. Anything?
I just wanted to thank everybody for all of the work that went into putting the information together for our work session. That was really impressive. You've done it again. Nice job.
Indra? Anything?
No, I'm just really thankful to be working on a board with such awesome people and staff. Thank you.
Agree with everybody there. It's always great being last. Thank you.
I just feel like I got like a fire hose of information in the best way today.
Yeah.
So I just want to thank everybody also for that and for your time tonight. And with that, we will adjourn at 6:10.
You almost beat the record.